Alright, so what I want to do is do a brief overview of the Behringer Bass V-Amp Pro. This is kind of an old processor. It looks like the date on the manual was 2005. Really good price. And I was looking for a preamp that I could just to minimize what I carry in my rack and that. And I thought, well, I'm going to try this thing. And I'd read some really good reviews on it. And I felt that it would be a good addition to my rack. I'm building my own stack. Full stack. It's a little hodgepodge of various items, but yet it doesn't sound bad at all, actually. So here's what I have. So far I have a Hartkey, the Hartkey 5000 model. It's a bi-amp, 250 watts, with a crossover where you can, you know, in the balance, which selects either your sub or your higher end speakers, a master volume contour. We have an EQ, which I don't use in this particular situation. There's compression, and then there is a preamp here. That's on here too. My upper speakers, my small ones, are Behringers. They're two 12-inch Behringers plus a horn. Then I've got a 15-inch Galian Krager for my bottom end. Kind of, like I said, a hodgepodge, but nonetheless it works very well. I'm not using this compressor, but I also have a power conditioner, firming power conditioner. So the Behringer Bass V-Amp Pro, I started to play with it, and I didn't see any videos on YouTube that talked about how it works. So here's how it works in the simplest form. You have these patches that you can create different types of sounds using your effects EQ, compression. You can vary how much effects you put on it. There's a treble, a mid, and a bass. There's also a volume for the patch, and then there's also a gain, which kicks in the patch. Right here are the amps that you can pick, and you have, like, for instance, the British 1960s, 70s, British 80s pop and that. Now if you look underneath it, there's like a gray one that says British Class A, British and Modern High Gain. What there is, there's a subsection in each one of these controls. So when you hold the tap button, okay, that sends you into that gray section, so you can adjust that. Like if you look at these volume knobs, and if you push the gray, see I push the tap, it adds another dimension of control to the particular knobs. Same thing with the compressor. This is your normal compression setting, but when you press the tap, that is your attack setting. I have it on max, okay? So that's kind of a really neat thing with them. Each one of these has a patch. You can see like that. Those go to different patches, and when I'm changing them, you'll see my amps change and those type of things. And it saves all these. So I'm going to go to bank 2 because that's a bank that I'm just playing with right now. There's nothing permanent. So if you want to make a change to your particular patch, it's really simple. The manual is terrible describing it. So let's say, for instance, I want to add a little bit more bass. Now watch, see this is solid now? That's your patch. If you turn the bass knob, all of a sudden it starts blinking. So what it's saying to you is that there's been a change, and it's blinking because there's a change, and do you want to save it? Kind of a dummy light. So to save it, what you do is you press and hold till it stops blinking, and voila. Now it saves the change that you have. So now if you go here, it's going to go here, but look at now the bass goes back to what we had changed, because we'd gone from here over to here. So saving's really easy. Same thing like if we were to change the amp. Now all of a sudden it's going to flash and it's going to go, hey, you got to save me, and that. So I don't want to. So let's say, for instance, you change something that's flashing, but you don't want to save it. Well, you could just walk out of it, hit another patch. It takes you out of it. See how that works? And then it stays in its original. So any changes that you make, the preamp is going to notice it, and it's going to remind you, and it's going to flash, and then you can save it by pressing down the patch section here. It'll save it in that patch, any one of these. So if you notice here, there's 5 buttons, so there's 5 patches, okay, in these banks. So these are banks of 5, and this goes up to 25. So you have 25 banks of 5, giving you a total of 125 different patches you could save. And these are just your banks right there. So basically super simple. If you read the manual, like I said, if you hold down the tap, you can also adjust what kind of cabinets you have are being used for the patch. You can use the manual, and the way you do that is you just hold that, and then the edit button lights, and then you can press cabinet. Right now it's using cabinet 7, and if you look in the owner's manual, they have a key that will tell you what cabinet 7 is. And let's say you wanted to, you know, do your crossover change or a denoiser in there. There's also a drive change, and there's also some MIDI changes you can use for particular patches. And that just gives you even more flexibility. So if you go into this particular edit mode, that's lit there, just get out of it by pushing this. Now if you were to make any changes, the E would be flashing, okay? So once again, it's pretty nice preamp. Really happy with it. It has numerous ways to send the signal out. In this particular case, I do have the guitar hooked right up to the front, but also you can push this button and the output will be in the back. So that kind of takes the mess out the front. So thanks for listening. And I know this is kind of simple and straight up, but I know that I felt a lot of confusion with the manual, and as I play with it, it's way simpler than I thought it would be, and I think the manual could have been a little bit better. Alright, thanks a lot.